G'day everyone, Goober here with another Torchlight Infinite Sandlord season video. In this video, I'll be reacting to the 25 questions Crow's Corner that Andre just put out. I have already watched it, so I'm not going to watch all of it all the way through. I'll just be stopping on each question and giving my thoughts. I'll probably pause, watch it, re-go over his answer in my head, and then give my thoughts on each one as we go. So I'll watch the intro, which is 45 seconds, and then we'll get into the questions.
Hey guys, welcome back to Torchlight Infinite.
Mic off, mic feedback off.
So as you guys might have noticed, we posted the Crow's Corner Q&A a while back, and we actually took some time to get to it because we
Mic
received
on,
a
mic
ton of
feedback
questions.
on.
I'm talking near 1,000, so of course we had to go through a selection process. A lot of those questions also led to a lot of internal discussion, which actually impacted some of the development for the upcoming season, and that's why we kind of took longer to get to it. But yeah, today we selected some of the hardest questions, our top 25 favorite questions, and we're going to be going over them as deeply and honestly as possible. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Question number 1. Are you happy with the state of deep space?
So basically, in a nutshell, that he goes through to say they're not happy with the current state of deep space, but it is designed to be a high investment, high requirement to do it. Not simply just be able to go from, say, when you're going from T8 to Profound, you don't really need to change your investment strategy. You don't have to juice to still make a profit. Whereas Deep Space is designed to need to be able to like high invest into each map and have the gold compasses and all that sort of stuff to make a profit or benefit. Unfortunately, this mindset means that, well, excuse me, that Coke was a bad choice. This unfortunately means to make a good profit, you also need good pets, which needs a bit of balancing to go through there. I'm going to pause because I can't stop burping. Yeah, so I think the reliance on investment needs to be heavily weighted against in favor of not needing, level 6 pets and level 6 Kong and that sort of thing. And if anyone's interested, Ruby did a poo, and she's telling me over and over again because, that's what kids do. I'll play Mario Kart after this, okay?
Okay, next question. Is the dev team happy with Dream after the changes? As someone who ran Dream a significant amount last season and this season, the nerfs feel a bit too much. Red and rainbow bubbles of all types don't feel particularly rewarding in Time Mark 8 and Profound from my experience. So, obviously...
So, basically the answer is, true. I think Dream has a very peculiar place in the game. It is insanely strong. It's even still good this season, but it's only good this season because not many people are running it. So the Trinket Shallow Dream Talkings are very profitable, and they are what's going to make you a lot of money. Deep Space Beacons and stuff also drop in Profound. I don't know so much about T8, but it's one of those things where the fluorescent memories are much better early on because Lost Secrets can drop and they're worth 3 flame elementium each. They become less rewarding in Time Mark 8 and Profound, where you would then focus on Netherrealm and currency. And then in Deep Space, you would probably focus on currency and, well, maybe Netherrealm still, and maybe gear as well. So you're chasing those blueprints for eternity and stuff like that as well. One suggestion I would have for Dream, let me just load the game. Actually, I don't think I've got it unlocked. Oh, do I? I'm at T7, so I've probably got it unlocked on my free-to-play. So this would impact this account a lot more than my other account because this is on America. It's not on the Asia server. So my thought process would be to modify the void chart a little bit more. So they nerfed the drops themselves, but then they also nerfed the tree. So the tree used to give you a higher chance of getting lightning, but then the rewards were also very good. So they could split it kind of like how God of Machines is split. So in here there is a lot of nodes, however, there is the chance to get the God of Machines, which is standard for all the trees. Then you've got one where it focuses on drones, and if you choose the drones path, you don't choose the other path that rewards the loot in the God of Machines mechanic itself. So you're getting all the loot from the drones, or you're getting all the loot from the machine itself. You don't really mix the two, so it's almost like having two separate trees in here. You could do something similar for Dream, whereas it's kind of just a jumble at the moment. So you've got the chance down here, then on the right hand side you've got the reduction in chance to trigger the nightmare itself, and then over here you've got one random one that is plus 20% additional drop quant. Then up here you've got plus 20% additional drop quant. That used to be one node, so you could just make this side make that 40% drop quant, and then you could have other things like you could save this side for just the minus chance, and then this side could be, and maybe the drop quant could go over there as well, because that's all building the dream. And then on this side, it could all be about, you could add a node here that the Sweet Dream Mist that appears in the map doesn't dissipate when the dream is realized. So you've still got the chance to find the mist in the map itself and get the benefits from that. You could also add one for more mists, like multiple mists. Sometimes, I don't know if it's a bug, but you'll get like 15 or 20 mists in a map, and that'll be really good. You could just add a node in here for multiple mist spawn rate. And then you could also add another one here. You could add this one, and then you could maybe have a 4 here, and that could be chance for Shallow Dream trinkets to drop from Mist. So you could really heavily lean into the Mist and the Invader aspect, and have maps themselves dropping more from the Dream Mist that appears and the Invader that appears in your map. And that sort of thing. And then the other side could be for building up your nightmare itself. That's how I would suggest going about this, because this kind of just feels like a forgotten one. You can see that in the compasses as well. So if we go to map materials on the trade house, where are they? So here, every other mechanic has 3. God of War has 2. Might has 5. Goddess of the Hunt has a couple. Machines has 5. Dark Surge has 3. Everything has multiple, except Nightmare is just like, this will add Nightmare to the map. You'll be right, mate. A couple extra compasses would be nice. One for the map experience, mists, etc. And the other one for additional drop quantity chance for the building of the nightmares. That's my 2 cents on Nightmare, and we'll get back to the video.
Next up, a question about the auction house or the trade house. Currently, with the 24-hour auction house timeout, we're running.
Basically, it's saying, can we increase the 24-hour timeout to 7 days? And the updating of the prices. I think that's actually a later question, so I won't touch on that. If they fix this to go from, say, 24 hours to 72 hours or 48 hours, then they really need to work on the background, because as you know, in the trade house, let's just open up pretty much anything. Let's go to Netherrealm Resonance. That's probably a good example. So when you search for Netherrealm Resonance, you just get all these sold ones. Imagine, so this is caused by someone selling something. It has been bought by a player and not collected. So either it's not collected by the buyer, or the FE has not been collected by the seller, which causes this to happen. Imagine if this was 72 hours and this problem wasn't fixed. You would have 50 or 60 pages of sold, and then after clicking right 4 billion times, then you would get to the Netherrealm residence, and that would be horrendously bad. They would need to increase the server load by updating this so it removes these far more often. Otherwise, you're going to have, as I just said, an absolute ton of dead sales to look at, which will suck.
And the pace of progression. Is this the intended pace of progression moving forward? There is a lack of loot drops that isn't linear with the progression I would hope to have. It's starting to feel like more of a chore farming for higher priced items, 6 to 10k FE per item upgrade, when there is a lack of income coming from mechanics in Profound. Mind you, I do have a majority of the pets leveled. Level 6 Shepherd, level 4 Kong, level 3 Chalk, so on.
So basically they say the pace of progression's good. If you watch my videos, I often have a few guides that are 600 to 1000 flame elements per hour. So saying that you've got level 4 this is basically the same state as my Asia pets. So you can easily make 600 to 1000 flame elementium per hour with these level of pets. So saying that 6 to 10k for an item, this is an end game item. This is not a progression item, I would think. This is something like a double corrupted Warden's Breastpin or something like that. Sure, there are items later on like Eternity that are 20 or 30,000 flame elementium. That's absolutely insane in my books, but everyone has different thoughts on the roadblockers. So I think the pace is reasonable. I do play probably more than the average person, but it's a fine balance. I remember a couple of seasons ago, 7.2 was making more profit than Profound, and I don't think Deep Space was in that season, but it wasn't worth going to T8 or Profound. 7.2 was making you more profit than anything else. So, yeah.
Okay, next up, having completed many maps over the last 2 seasons, my friends and I came to the unambiguous conclusion that the rarity of items affects priceless gear. The more rarity, the less priceless gear. Can you confirm that this is indeed the case? So this is something that we actually saw a lot in comment sections this season, or on Discord, everywhere, to the point where I actually asked the development team, before we actually even started preparing this Q&A. And the response that I got from the development team is that, no, this is in fact not the case. So basically, rarity should only be influencing legendary drops. Next up, we have a...
So this one's another word of mouth or rumor mill one. So basically, priceless gear is gear, and rarity only affects legendary gear. So that's 2 different drops that you're thinking about. If you increase the amount of normal gear that can drop, that will negatively affect the amount of legendary gear that can drop, and that can be done in the void chart as well, I'm pretty sure. You can make it so I think legendary gear or rarity affected gear can be it can be turned into flame sand when it drops, etc. So I think maybe people are getting confused about those two, but yeah, rarity only really affects legendary gear in that aspect, so it's really just 2 different drops.
Very interesting question. Hello, the question that worries me.
Is the game doing well? I think it is. Looking at my YouTube, season on season, I'm getting more and more people not just views, but I get 20, 25,000, 30,000 people watching my content every season. So I think the apart from the season where Max Roll bailed out, that was a little bit of a downturn, but then it kept going up from there. So I think with the more and more content creators that we're getting, the more investment that they're putting into the game. Like this season, you saw a bunch of non-Torchlight streamers playing the game, trying it out, getting all those eyes on the game. So I think there is a lot of investment coming into the game, which is really good. And they are rewarding their content creators more this season than any other season that has been passed. So I think, at least from my biased perspective, the company is doing well. They're still pumping out more pay-to-win cosmetics and that sort of stuff. When the cosmetics and the new gacha stuff either goes up from being, here's 3 or 4 or 5 things every season to here's 20, that would be an alarm bell. Or if those things completely stop or the quality of those things drops, then that would be an indicator in my eyes of the company struggling. If you watch the behind the scenes, they have thousands of employees, so that's pretty surprising.
Next up, every season so far have not introduced new maps to run, and some maps are just plain bad, with dead ends, so on and so forth. Do you plan to add maps or refine the current ones? The roster needs some new, fresh maps to run.
So basically in this one, the last few seasons, they've been teasing procedurally mapped, procedural generated maps. To be honest, in my opinion, for the shit maps, they should just add a portal, much like they do in Eterna, where once you've cleared all of the Eterna nodes, it pops you out a portal to the boss. It would be handy in normal maps if it maybe popped you out a portal to the boss once you'd cleared 75% of the monsters. That would be a good opportunity to just port straight to the boss, in my opinion.
So basically, live. Next up, TLI currently has an extremely pricey defense and it's getting worse by the season. What is the reason behind this? So
basically, in a few previous seasons, you would just max out your damage and your defense didn't matter at all. So they don't want their game to be super basic and they want it to be complex. However, the problem with that is it is made complex in Chinese and then it's translated to English, and then some of the translations and in-game help is rather bad. So I think if they increased the explanations of things, maybe went back to the old Crow's Corner style where GG Lauren used to run and get into the technical itty-gritties. Unfortunately, with the Discord being hacked, we lost all of that. So all that data's gone as far as I know. But I think the pricey defense isn't really the issue. I think it's the explanations around what makes each defense good. So if a YouTuber or someone has a good video on how each defensive mechanic works and what sort of range you should be aiming for each of those mechanics, I think that would be a good video to help everyone in the community out. I feel like Satuka did one a couple of seasons ago. I'll probably have to go searching for it.
next up, a question regarding Time Arc 8. T8 is a real problem right now. Most of my friends are entirely stuck in T8, including myself, and we cannot progress. We are farming for 8 hours straight to get at max 500 FE. Any plans to buff the progression on that side? So, we've been going...
I feel like this is, you know, most of the comments on my videos where people are like, this isn't really 600 FE an hour. I mean, if you're farming 8 hours for 500 FE, then either your difficulty is too high, You need to go back to where you're one-shotting enemies, or you need to understand some of the progression. As I said before, with the Dream, you would focus on cards early on, and then discard cards to go for Netherrealm when you're in Profound, and commodity and stuff as you go up. And back on Dream again, if you're just getting a bunch of white or blue bubbles, then it's not very good, and you need to be aiming for red and rainbow bubbles, because that is where all of the loot is in everything in this game. Canvas as well, if you're not going for rainbows, you're doing something wrong. So I think it's just I will put out a series towards the start of next season, trying to go over progression of mechanics and what is better to farm in T7, what's better to farm in Deep Space and stuff like that. I don't know if it's much of a problem, but it's probably lesser for me because I've been playing since Season 1 and I understand that sort of thing.
Next up, can we expect to see the automatic crafting system expanded upon for auto crafting systems such as hero memory crafting and dream talking? Not in our current plans.
Too hard. Can't be bothered. I think it'd be cool for or dream talking. Yeah, I mean, it deletes your currency pretty quick, so just having a, like, instead of having the 4 nodes on, like, what was I on? I think I was on Belt, and the bottom 2 nodes were empty, and the top 2 nodes had 4 each. It'd be cool if you just had a drop down, select which one, and just delete my currency until that hits. That'd be cool. And hero memories, same.
Could you add fates that provide XP bonus, XP balance, XP protection?
This would be cool. There is pets that give these if you want to roll for them, Athena and stuff like that. XP protection, I have them all on the other character. I feel like, so this doesn't negatively impact the pack spirits, it wouldn't be 100% XP protection. There would have to be some limit to that. Maybe if they made it so, let's have a look. If we go to pack spirits, they are in this, and then we go to survival. So in here we have Athena, which is XP balance. Maybe if they made it so the Kismets were, where are they? Up to 40% XP fall off, so you could still use the, you know, the blue and the purple and get up to 60%, and then the Kismet could ultimately help you out for the last 40%, so there's less reliance on the legendary pack spirit. And I think this is the other one. So this one is XP protection. Again, it's 40% here. If you could get 40% on a Kismet, maybe make it a dual Kismet, so it's you know, a little bit more investment to get around that. So you're sacrificing 2 medium nodes to get that, just to counter the legendary pack spirit. I think that'd be kind of cool, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. There is the event for Kismets as well, but I'd say that something as, air quotes, basic as this isn't going to win anything. So, you know.
Is it possible that the guy who added portals to maps for easy navigation could take a look at?
I touched on this one before. 75% killed. Give us a portal to the boss room. And the thing that PoE does well is the League mechanics are often around the portals, the start or the end of the map, so that would be cool as well, so you're not searching for that shit as well.
Now, next up, hi, will it be possible to add an option directly in the map, or for example in the Void Sea invitation, so that it can be repeated when I have enough invitations? I think it's a good quality of life that a lot of people will appreciate.
So this one is interesting. He touches on it in his response, which is basically There are certain things in the game. So if we look at Path of the Brave, for a good example, I can't actually look at it on this character, but basically, let's just go to the trade house and have a look. So Proof the Brave 1 is worthless. Proof the Brave 2 is 1.5 FE, let's say. Proof the Brave 3 is 14, and 4s are about 40. So when you complete a 1, it gives you a 2, it gives you a 3, it gives you a 3, 4, or 5. So as you complete each zone, it guarantees you one of the other drops. If this was easier to just stay in there, and I know it's counterproductive, but a quality of life upgrade for this would probably destroy some of the profitability of just upgrading and selling. So you might be just running the 4s, so it's not going to affect you at all. But if you're one of the people buying the 2s and selling the 4s, if they made it too easy for you to buy the 2s and just stay in Proof the Brave and just hit a repeat, then that is going to churn out more 3s and more 4s. It's going to make it faster. So on one hand, you have to balance, do I want it to be super easy to go from 2 to 3 to 4 in maybe a minute, versus a 2 running back to the guy, having the annoyance of doing that manual stuff to get the 3. That adds, 30 seconds per run, and that keeps the price of these items higher. So if you're buying the 2s and selling the 4s, you are making more profit off the annoyance. I know it sounds dumb, but if it was super easy to go from 2 to 3 to 4 in the map and it took a minute, then the price of the 4s would drop significantly, as it would be, more accessible and cheaper in that regards. Overall, it's probably maybe a good thing, maybe a bad thing. If they put it in and it was too easy and the price of all these went down to 1, then I think there would be more people annoyed in that aspect. Having said that, I can't do it on this character because it's only a day old. Let me switch over. All right, let's give 2 examples. So in the Great Void, this is where one of the areas was. So we have the Tidemaster and the Lawbreaker. These are vastly different. So the Uber Keegan, you have to put in all 3. I don't have a Doom, apparently. So Dooms are, 19. 3, that'll do, whatever. Snowpaper's still going strong. So for Doom, it takes 4 clicks, which is pretty annoying. Adds like 10 seconds a map. Then you have to come in, and he actually has a few immunity phases and stuff like that. So it takes a little bit longer to do this. So I doubt it would really affect the Keegan farm too much. So the question was, at the end of this, how do you make it more efficient and stuff like that? One of the things that you can do is drop your own portal, so it puts you back at the NPC instead of the other portal, which is garbage. And then, so this has got a lot of immunity phases, so it's a bit of a slower farm and stuff like that. So this takes about a minute to do an Uber Keegan, and you get your loot and then you leave. Decent double corrupt. Versus, and then if you had an option to just go again at the end of that, sure, it would save you 30 seconds, but I don't think it would impact that one too much. Versus if you were doing Lawbreaker, so most of the Lawbreaker is actually doing that menu. So you cancel this, you go through, and he's dead. So imagine if you could do it that fast and then just have a retry button here. You could do probably about 500 of these every hour, and it would be insane. I don't think the I don't think the economy of this boss fight would survive. because people just be going retry, 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 and you'd still not like that boss fight took less than a second. So there's a bit of a balancing act that they need to do there. But on the one hand, I want it for Keegan, but if it comes in for Keegan, it has to happen for the other bosses. And you can imagine people doing 500 or 600 of these an hour, versus it would only increase the amount of Keegans that you could do by maybe 30, for an example. But yeah, so some of the boss fights are insanely fast, and I think it would hurt that economy more than benefit it.
It's way too confusing for a new player like me. I try to do cube farming in TA and the proc chance of the mechanics is still low every time I do mapping. Put more effort for dropping instructions of every year's items. Yeah, as we mentioned earlier in the video, it's...
So this is basically back to the farming ones that I answered before. It's all about knowledge of the mechanics and knowing what can drop, what mechanics are good early, what mechanics aren't good in Profound. And stuff like that. Hopefully I can cover that off in a video later. I'll have to think about how I do it.
For items in general. Next up, would it be possible to allow filtering of loot strategies using all 3 existing filter types at once? Currently, I could not filter on Profound and show specific seasonal mechanics such as Dream in one filter. Yeah, perfectly good idea. It's been...
Actually, in my brain, I don't know what this one's saying. What 3 filter types?
Hurry, we're going to miss the class.
I don't really understand that one. He seems on board, but I have no idea what it means. So maybe someone can tell me in the comments.
Trade house price check is outdated. Seriously, it shows price.
So this is back to the other one with the extension of the time. They need to increase everything. You know, optimizations and stuff, otherwise the whole thing's just going to fall over and go to shit. So hopefully they can fix it, but we'll see what happens.
Next up, a question regarding preseason, because of course that's something we haven't seen in a long time.
So I personally liked preseasons. I do have Corgi and I have the other guy. So if you're unaware, a little while back, they used to do 2 months of main season, 1 month of preseason, and then after the 1 month of preseason, it would go straight into the next season. And there was a bunch of others, well, 2. So Corgi was a really good one. The Star of Calamity boss was basically like the... I think it was this, which was just like the teardrop gamba key things, brain not working right now. So basically, they would have a chance of dropping you a key. You'd go and open a chest, and you'd get a modified Eternity, which was really cool. Corgi looks really cool. That's why I use him most of the time, just because he looks cool, because he's a dog in an aeroplane. The question is, are we getting pre-seasons back so I can utilize these guys again? Otherwise, they're just drop quant, an additional drop quant, and the other one is just drop rarity, an additional drop quant. So that's basically garbage, except for this sort of stuff. It was cool when this guy came out because you could have Edict Dooms drop, which is kind of cool. But I think they said a while ago that they're not doing pre-seasons anymore. So these 2 pack spirits, while they look cool, I actually spent money to get Corgi 6. I hated every second of it, and I haven't dropped money to roll for pets since. But anyway.
Upon as soon as possible. Next up. Are there any plans to improve the update process on the mobile client? Specifically on my iPhone, I have to download, verify the entire client whenever it's updated.
So whenever it's updated. So sometimes I've noticed, at least on my mobile, in Australia, we don't have very fast internet. The new seasonal one, I update that at home because that would take forever. But I find that if you play a lot on PC and then you go to play on your phone, it takes a long time to do the initialization. Hopefully that can get fixed up. But other than that, I don't know. Feels like a nothing question to me.
Months. Next up, every season you nerf loot for the average player. I invested everything into Dream Pet just for it to get gutted. What is the point of giving us free pets if you will just nerf them to get people to buy the new season pets? Also, what kind of player can afford a predicted justice blending recipe which costs 90k FE?
If you're wondering what the predicted justice blending recipe is, we can go to the Oasis. There is one recipe in here which is far more expensive than any other recipe in the game. And the thought process behind the devs was, oh, it's really powerful, so we need to make it cost a lot. What? If it's that powerful, maybe don't make it so powerful that only RMTers can get it. So if we chuck a belt in, the recipe, I believe, is... I can't unlock it. So there's one in here that costs far more than anyone else. It must be in here. But basically, so all of the others cost one Ancient Blender's figure, 4 of these and 2 of these. There's one that costs 25 of these, 100 of these, or 80 of these or something, and like 60 of these. So it is 25 times more expensive than any other hero trait to add to the Tier 3 character. That is absolutely insane that you need 25 of these and like 80 or 100 of these, because they cost an insane amount. So 25 of these, so there, where's a bigger listing? 1440 each. 25 times 1440, so that's 36,000 flame elementium for that material. Then you need like 80 of these, so 80 times 400, oh, 80 times 400 is another 32,000, so 66,000 flame elementium just for the materials to put one hero trait on a belt is absolutely disgusting. And if it's that powerful, don't add it as a option. I've got no capital. But anyway, it's insane to me that that exists in the game.
It seems like you want players to spend 1 year playing a season that lasts 4 months. You say you try to combat RMT, then why do you have items and mechanics that are...
And even if you're making 1,000 flame elementium an hour, that's 90 hours of playing a game for one hero trait on a belt. That's disgusting. Unless that belt is mirror tier, you wouldn't do that. Which, yeah. Go away.
That modify monsters and their numbers, pack size more dramatically. Certain mechanics certainly do add their own static amount of monsters, but maps can feel somewhat similar and empty while you are progressing.
So I think this would be really good if they added more pack size for time mark 1 to 5. What?
You know where your switch is?
No idea where my Switch is, Leo. You're the one that plays it.
Have you seen it in here?
No, I haven't seen it.
Can you
Please go and find it. You go and find it.
I
Leo, you didn't look. Go and find it. You're the one that plays it, not me.
But for peace.
So I think in time mark 1 to 5, all you're really doing, you're running to the boss, you're killing it so you can go to time mark 2. I mean, it's pretty boring. I think if they increase the amount of monsters and stuff in T1 to 5, I don't want to say 6 because I don't want 6 to be boosted and 7 not. Just because of the level disparity. So if you have a lot of the XP fall off pets, I don't want T6 to be better XP than T7 because that doesn't make much sense. But I don't think even if you have the XP fall off, I don't think T5 would ever be better than T7 for grinding to 100 in that aspect. So I think T5 and below need some love, extra monsters, extra chance of the shit currencies like fine embers and stuff. They should be dropping a lot more there, so you can easily progress through there, and by the time you get to T7, you're ready for T7 and you can farm it and progress faster. I think that would boost everyone's early game a lot more, giving more fine ember drops, flame sand drops, and that sort of thing to really push everyone through at least that super early league start.
Next up, right now we have to make a choice. If we engage with this league's content, that means any out-of-map content really can't be engaged with. Can we please get gold drops in Mistville and Canvas, please? I mean, I think the underlying logic would be that, you know, not just Mistville and Canvas, but any other
So I kind of agree with this as both aspects. When I was playing every day and I was playing a lot, I had enough gold, I had enough materials. But now that I'm not playing all that much, as you saw on here, I have no materials. I have no... I have some materials. I have no gold to keep going, so the whole thing's just stopped. It would be cool if there was more gold and more resources to keep it going, but I think that should probably stay in the season mechanic, in maps. I think that maybe just the mapping experience itself should probably give more more gold and more resources. I only just noticed that in this view, it actually has your character there still. That's kind of cool. Minor detail. I guess this is going to be interesting next season when it's not core and you actually have to use compasses and stuff to add it to your maps.
Season 5, and I'm assuming here is referring to SS5 or Clockwork Ballet. The devs have been making the game harder and progression slower every new season. Has this had a positive impact on the company's bottom line? So Clockwork Ballet was actually an exception. And
so what happened in Clockwork Ballet is loot was dropping a lot. It was just raining from the sky. Basically, the clockwork could load into a mini zone area. It was like kill these enemies, and then towards the end, depending on how many enemies you killed, how many cogs that you collected, the amount of loot that you would get at the end. This was bugged in Clockwork, and they could just keep appearing under each other over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and you could get like 800 rewards at the end, and it would just absolutely rain currency. This kind of destroyed the economy, and I think in a lot of other mechanics and stuff, a lot of currency was dropping, so people blitzed through the campaign and the progression extremely fast, and then left the game for something else. So they obviously wanted to extend that a bit. So going from Season 5 to Season 6, or SS5 to SS6, it seemed like it sucked, which was good for me because everyone would be coming to YouTube going, oh, this sucks, how can I make currency? And I was there to help. But I guess now that if you came in from SS6 onwards, you wouldn't have noticed. And I guess now the season progression seems to go for about 6 weeks, and then people go play something else. So I don't think it's having a negative impact as much. If they slow it down too much and force people to play for 8 weeks, then I think it'll be bad. What?
Can you please help me find it?
Did I answer this one? I don't know. Next.
same. Next question, Steam Deck and better controller support. Do you think we may ever see a Switch 1 or 2 version? So, first of all, TLI...
I think this would be really cool if they put it on Switch. A hell of a lot of people play Switch, so maybe Switch 2. That'd be pretty cool. Runs well on mobile, so why wouldn't it run well on every other console ever made? I personally play it on... I think it's called the Backbone, where I can plug my phone into... It's like a console controller that I can play it like that. That's pretty cool. Very good for the train. If you could play it on Switch and stuff, that'd be super awesome. He says maybe in the future, so probably Switch too.
Yes. And last, before I totally lose my voice, the game is slowly becoming.
So this one is basically, there is so many league mechanics and stuff. If you remember back to the season reveal, they said that they are looking at a way of turning on and off mechanics depending on the season to make sure they work well together. So that will probably be a feature in the future. And again, I'll be trying to make videos on which mechanics gel well together, like Eterna and Snow Paper Fragments. They work well together, and stuff like that. So I'll try and cover this off in a few videos in the future, but we'll see how we go.
Sure. Okay, guys, that's it for today. That was a long one, and we actually still have a lot of questions to get to, so we're going to be covering the rest of the questions that you guys dropped throughout the Q&A forum via our official website. So
basically, they're going to put all the questions on the website. If you guys want me to, I can just make videos of reading out some of those. Don't know how I'll get through 1,000, but I doubt they'll put that many up. And if they do, they'll be putting questions up like, oh, this long question. Answer, no. That's what they did a few seasons ago. It was like, why even include that? Just, yeah. Anyway. But anyway, that is the video. You can go check that out on Torchlight Infinite. Give it a like, whatever. And yeah, I'll see yous in the next one. Cheers.